I'm 57M, married for over 3 decades to Jennifer, 51F. We have a son and 2 daughters. All are adults now and living on their own. I work for a pharmaceutical company with a great payout. Our lifestyle has been decent even with a single income and 3 children. Life didn't used to be that complicated earlier. A year and a half back, my company decided to set up another production unit in the neighboring town, and I was appointed as one of the core members to be leading the setup. I was leading the manufacturing department. When I got the offer, I discussed it with Jenny before accepting it. All our children had moved out by then and it was just us. I didn't want to leave her alone, but she assured me that she would manage fine. It was a temporary project until the setup was running smoothly. The company had taken a year's time for this setup completion. The pay for this duration was almost 2.5x of my current salary, which was a big deal. After measuring all the pros and cons, we decided that I would take it up. That payout would help me retire earlier and we can enjoy the last phase of our life comfortably. Next month is my 30th anniversary and I was planning to make it super special for Jenny. I mean, yes, 3 decades is a milestone, plus I had to make up for my absence due to work commitments. So, I decided to gift her a diamond pendant she has been eyeing for a long time. I went to one of the oldest jewelry shops in the town. They showed me their latest and classiest collection, but I was not able to finalize one. I showed Jenny's photo to the store guy and asked them to suggest something that would suit her beauty bones. He was surprised to see her and asked me if she was my wife. I said, "Damn yes." He said she was their regular customer for many years and often visited the store. I said, "Yeah, I know, that's why I came to the shop." I asked him if there was anything else because the way he reacted didn't seem like a happy surprise. He apologized for his reaction and said, "No, I wasn't expecting Jenny to be your wife. I have never seen you accompanying her," hence got confused. He was stammering and his responses sounded somewhat not satisfied. I calmed him down and asked him what was the matter. He said Jenny had visited the store a week prior and she had placed an order for a men's sapphire ring. He apologized to me a million times, saying he might have ruined the surprise for her. He pleaded that I act surprised when she gifts me the ring, or else she might report him to the manager and he would be fired for being a big-mouthed. I chuckled and asked him not to worry about it. I was over the moon thinking Jenny was equally excited about the anniversary and that she had been planning surprises for me. Next, I made the reservation for a beach holiday. I booked a resort on a private island in Miami. All the arrangements were made for an exotic holiday by the ocean. It was all a surprise. After making all the arrangements, I was waiting for the anniversary day to arrive. However, all my happiness crashed down yesterday when I saw a sapphire ring on my friend, Lena's husband. Jenny, Lena, and I have been a close aide for the last 30 years. Actually, we had a group of 5 close friends, but 2 of them lost touch eventually, but we 3 are still super tight. Lena has been the toughest person I have ever met. Discussing her background would have been futile here, but it holds importance in this case. Lena's father was a wealthy businessman 3 years back. However, some of his top management guys conspired to siphon the company's money, leading to the company's shutdown due to compliance issues. Her father suffered a heart attack and got paralyzed due to that trauma. Since then, she has stepped up to take care of her parents and has been bravely fighting court cases to clean her father's reputation. Yesterday, Jenny and I visited Lena to check on her dad's condition. Everything was normal until her husband, Marcus, 52M, arrived. I don't know if it was his flamboyant personality or the flashy ring itself that caught my attention. I couldn't pretend to not notice it and asked him about the ring. If I had not known about that ring earlier, I would have never noticed their reactions and body language. Marcus and Jenny looked at each other and then he curled his lips with a smile and said, he bought it for himself. Lena seemed to be annoyed at this. I mean, it goes without saying that she has been going through a difficult time managing her family and her parents along with court cases, and in that situation, her husband is spending bombs on a ring, and that too for himself. Oh yeah, one more thing. Marcus used to work at Lena's father's company, and ever since the company went bankrupt, he's been a lazy bum, sucking onto her income. Now that I know the reality that the ring was gifted by my lovely wife makes the situation even worse. Why would she give such expensive gifts to Lena's husband without anyone knowing? There has to be something. I added 2 plus 2 and now it makes sense to conclude that they both are fooling around. Now the thing is, I just cannot confront this based on my math. I need proper evidence. I could have teamed up with Lena on this mission, but she's already going through enough and I don't want to trouble her without evidence. I have to leave for work tomorrow and it disgusts me to think that as soon as I leave, Marcus is gonna come banging my wife. I'm going nuts thinking about the entire stuff. Update 1. Hey, I left the last post midway. I kinda got lost in my thoughts. I got one comment asking if I missed reading out the red flag or if there was none. Let me tell you, although I still have no information on when and how, I know for sure that their cheating game would have started after my transfer to the new plant. Lena and Marcus have been married for 6 to 7 years with no kids. I don't know what Lena saw in that lazy bum that she served him a fortune on a platter. I mean, he got an eminent position in the company without his ass. After the transfer, for the first 5 to 7 months, I was mostly staying at the new manufacturing unit. The company provided us with a stay and everything. I used to drive home twice or thrice a month. Initially, Jenny was sulking and complaining about our limited couple time, but eventually that stopped. I thought she got used to the situation. It was kinda relief for me, but now I think it was not. It was a sign of a bigger problem. Guys, making this simple for all of you, partners not complaining about the couple time is actually a red flag and not a sign of maturity. When you love and care for someone, you crave to spend time with them. After the installation of the first plant at the site, my workload got slightly easier. I was now coming home every weekend, but Jenny was still in that distant mode. I spoke to her several times regarding her changing attitude, and she pinned the blame on me. She said she wants to remain distant from me until my project concludes and I move back because it hurts her to see me leaving on Monday after spending quality time for the weekend. Guess what? I bought her reason. It made sense to me. That's what. We tend to blindly trust our partners, and that's how we land up here. Our sex life became non-existent for the same reason. Every time I initiated, she would snap at me saying she doesn't want to ignite her sex life when she can't get it when she wants. Sometimes, I used to get irritated by this, but she assured me that once my project was over, we'd get back to our usual routine. She was like, "You turn me horny and then you leave me alone for the whole week and it becomes difficult for me, so I don't want to have anything at all for this period of time." And guess what? I bought this too. Want to smack my head? Me too. All this was also the reason I had planned something special for this anniversary. To cover for my absence and to make her feel special. Until now, I was feeling so blessed to have such an understanding wife. I was so grateful to her for supporting me in every way. Now we know the truth behind her support. Anyways, I'm back in my plant and I don't want to go back home anytime soon, at least not without a plan to catch their infidelity. I'm yet to work on the plan. If anyone has an idea, kindly pitch in. Would much appreciate the help. Update 2, reposting the thread again. Not sure what happened, that my last update got deleted twice. I came back to my work to clear my head and to strategize next. I got the suggestion from you guys seriously to gather the evidence first before the confrontation. I bought some sound capturing devices with a recorder and decided to plant them at the places where they would likely meet. The following weekend I went home. We were anyways distant from each other, sex life was null, so avoiding her wasn't a big deal. I fixed one tiny capturing device inside her clutch bag and placed the connecting recorder inside her car. The two other devices I placed in my bedroom, and one on the living room couch hid the recorder behind the bookshelf. I tested both the devices and it worked fine. After that, I patiently waited for the device to collect the relevant evidence. It was almost a week until I got some concrete recordings. Marcus hasn't visited my house in my absence, so there were no recordings with both their voices. It was just her voice on the calls. The information was in bits and pieces, but the overall crux of the conversation was that they were saying "I love yous" to each other, talking about their desires and pleasures. That very weekend Lena was to travel with her parents to their countryside farm to sort out some legal matters. Ideally, Marcus should have accompanied them, but he was more interested in using Lena's absence as an opportunity to bang my wife. He insisted that Jenny catch up on that weekend, but she refused. She said I was home and didn't want me to get suspicious of her absence. They were whining about the fact that I was visiting home more often and they were not getting enough time for themselves. All these conversations were happening in my bedroom while I was mowing the lawn outside. Petty. They talked about this on Saturday morning and I heard it in the afternoon. I went out of the study and told her that something emergency came up at work and I would be leaving after dinner. She nodded. After that, I was waiting for her phone call with Marcus, but the recorder didn't fetch anything. After dinner, I left. She came to see me off outside, hugged and kissed me. I wanted to push her off but resisted. I drove off. The recorder didn't fetch any data for a long time. That scared me off. I thought she found it and destroyed it, but after a while, I got a notification that something is getting recorded. It was a phone call with her mom, just normal stuff, nothing alarming. I kept waiting for her to speak to Marcus and discuss their next meeting. Yeah, I was heavily preying on them. I reached my company's site and dozed off. My anxiety had torn me off. I woke up on Sunday morning and the first thing I did was check the data. Found it. She had called him after midnight, saying she felt lonely and they decided on meeting the next day, before indulging in phone sex. It was harrowing to listen to those words. I had enough information to catch them red-handed, but their conversation didn't reveal the place. They already had a pre-decided place maybe. I noted the time they were scheduled to meet. I rushed back home wanting to follow her car. God knows what was I thinking. I didn't even check if I'd be able to make it on time. I just rushed. I was still on my way when I got a panic call from Lena. She was driving back home with her parents when her father had another attack. The ambulance was on the way. She was desperately calling Marcus, but he wasn't responding. She called me to check if I was nearby and could come at her rescue. At that moment, I forgot about my plan and ran to help Lena. By the time I reached the hospital, her father was admitted and being treated. She broke down on seeing me. I wanted to tell her about her low-life husband, but how could I at that moment? She kept calling him but no response. It was almost midnight when Marcus arrived after seeing Lena's voicemails. He was shocked to see me. Lena's father was out of danger by then. She was definitely mad at him, but she softened when he gave her a reason for not responding. I couldn't bear to hear his excuse. I wanted to punch him because I knew he was lying. I went back to my car and played the recorder. The mic in Jenny's wallet recorded every filth these two had done that day. After a while, I saw Jenny come rushing to the hospital. She acted shocked at seeing me. I'm sure Marcus would have told her about me. She said Marcus informed her about Lena's dad and she came to support her. She asked me when I came back. Lena said that she called me when Marcus didn't respond. Jenny was like, "Hey, why didn't you call me? I was home all day, could have come with you." Look at the audacity of her lying. I excused myself and drove back to my plant. I had work the next day. I have my anniversary in 10 days and I'm planning to gift a memoir to my wife. I'm in touch with Lena. Her dad is recovering. So, hopefully, I'll expose my slutty wife and her loser AP in front of Lena. Update 3, that 10-day wait period was the hardest. I wanted to get done with it ASAP. On the day of the anniversary, I drove back home with the diamond pendant and divorce papers. My children were home. We had planned this to be a surprise for Jenny, but after discovering this truth, all the love turned into disgust. I went home late. My children arrived with their partners. Lena and Marcus were already present. The celebration had almost begun. I wanted to blurt out the truth the moment I saw Marcus, but held it up for the sake of my children. The cake was cut, and champagne was rolled out. I gave her the diamond pendant I had bought. Jenny was delighted, but when she saw the name of the shop, she turned pale and asked me when did I go there. She was worried that her truth might have come out from there. Rightly so. I was quiet for most of the evening. I had texted Lena to stay back for a while. I had something to reveal after the children were gone. The children pushed off after dinner. Jenny was over the moon wearing the diamond. I told her I had something else for her. I pulled out the envelope and handed it to her. She jumped in excitement saying, "Holiday package." I smiled and asked her to open it. BTW, I canceled all the bookings for Miami when I got to know the truth. She opened the envelope and froze. She muttered, "This is a prank, right? You're not serious, right?" I nodded. I was serious. Lena sat there in shock. Marcus got the vibe of the situation and asked what's wrong. I played their recording tape on my phone. Jenny crashed down on the couch, burying her face and crying. The room was dead silent. Lena was in tears too, but that woman had seen so much hardship in life that she didn't mind another blow. She silently got up and left. Marcus followed her outside. After they left, I too started packing my stuff. Lena came to me crying, trying to hug me. She said, "Since you know the truth, you must know that I wanted to come out of this. I have been telling Marcus to stop this, but he insisted that we continue until you return." She was right. There were conversations where she was talking about breaking up, but Marcus was always successful in getting her on board for one last time. That's not the point that she wanted to end. The thing was, why did she even start? It was the same classic answer of "I was lonely, you were busy with work." First of all, cheating should be an excuse for anything. Second, I used to visit home at least twice a month even during the initial days. Was that not enough for her to keep her legs closed? What about the women who see their husband after months and years? Do they turn hoe to satisfy themselves? I said I was going to head out and would wait for her to sign the papers meanwhile. I have a few more things to update, but that would be for later. Running out of time now. Thanks for reading this thread. Update 4, let me pick up from where I left. That night I packed my stuff and left the house. She pleaded with me for the sake of 30 years of marriage. She reminded me of all the tough times we had been together and how we had planned on spending our retirement life, living in the camper by the woods. She was trying to emotionally manipulate me and I was getting swayed by her to some extent, but I stood to my ground and held my resolve. I came to my company's condo for the night. The project setup is supposed to be wrapped up in a couple of months. After which I should have been back to my house. Now with the change in this situation, I wanted to stay away from that place. I requested my company's director to transfer me to the new site temporarily. He was curious about my request because last time I was nagging about letting me move back and now I wanted to extend my stay. I briefly told him about my troubled marriage. He was empathetic and asked me to take some time off to clear my mind. I said I'll take it when I need it. 2 days later, I got a call from my son asking what's wrong with mom. He said that Jenny had been crying over the phone and asking them to come home. She didn't give him the reason, just asked him to come over along with his sisters. I called Jenny to ask what was she up to. She was bawling. She said her guilt was weighing her down and she wanted to confess in front of the children. She asked me if I could be present. I said, I don't want to intervene in her plans and she could do whatever she wanted. I don't have the details of what had happened at their gathering, but my elder daughter came to meet me after a week. She asked me if I wanted to stay with her for some time. I said I was doing fine and would visit her when I needed them. Update about Lena, I have been in touch with her. She has been battling too many battles alone. I asked her if she needed any help and she said no, she would handle it. She had kicked out Marcus that very night. He was a leech. I have never been fond of this guy. In fact, when Lena told me that she wanted to marry him, I cautioned her. He didn't have a proper job, although he had a college degree. He had a callous attitude. He conveniently joined Lena's family business to lurk around. Then he smartly used my absence to get into my bed. He is an opportunistic, I would say. She informed me that Jenny visited her and fell on her knees asking for forgiveness. She owned up to her sin but also pinned the blame on Marcus for luring her into this. Lena believes this to be true because she has noticed Marcus oogling at Jenny multiple times even before their affair started. There were even fights between them regarding Jenny, but Marcus always assured her that he was not attracted to Jenny at all. I feel Lena got a harder blow facing the betrayal from her husband and her best friend. She's proceeding with the divorce as I update this. Her parents are supporting her through this. I know she would sail through this for the tough woman she is. I bought a camper for myself yesterday to travel and live in whenever to break the monotony of my condo life. I need to do some renovation to suit my comfort. Writing here has been working like therapy to me, and I will continue doing so as I move forward. Now on to the next story, story 2. Found out the kids I had been raising for 7 years weren't mine, so I got revenge on my wife by doing this. I'm a 32-year-old man who started dating my wife, who's now 27, right after she graduated college. Early on, I will fully admit we had a bit of a rocky relationship. She was fresh out of college and still a little immature, and this led to some pretty frequent fighting, nothing physical, just arguments. And at one point, before we were married, we had one that turned into a temporary breakup. We spent time away from one another, but we both decided that we missed one another, so after about 6 months apart, we made up and got back together and got married. I love her very much, truly, and we have 2 children, a 7-year-old girl, and a 5-year-old boy. Now before we got married, I knew she was still somewhat attached to her ex-boyfriend. And I will fully admit I did snoop around in her phone once or twice to make sure they were no longer in contact with one another. But I found nothing. So as I said, I'm married to the love of my life and have 2 children that I love. I provide for my family in every way that I can. Unfortunately, this is where things start to go amiss. My wife had a best friend of many years who had been her roommate in college. One day her best friends came over. Usually, when her friend is over, I give them some space as I don't want to intrude. But I happened to be in the kitchen when they started fighting. I'm not sure what started it, but their voices were already tense when I walked into the room, and within a minute they were having a full-on argument in front of me. As it got more and more heated, they just started spilling each other's secrets. At one point, her best friend looked me dead in the eyes and told me she felt sorry for me since I'd been raising another man's children this whole time. Before I could ask her to elaborate, my wife threw her out of the house. I was obviously shocked to hear this and asked my wife what her friend had meant by that. But my wife played dumb, claiming she had no idea and that her friend was probably just saying whatever she could hurt her. Obviously, I was troubled by the statements her friend had made. I wanted to believe that my wife was loyal to me. I really did. But I had to be sure, so I went behind my wife's back and ended up speaking to her former best friend about what she had said during the fight. I had hoped I would get a simple, "Oh yes, I was drunk and angry," and just saying whatever I could. But what I got instead was her former friend showing me the emails the 2 of them had sent one another about my wife cheating on me. With undeniable proof, my heart shattered. I went home. I decided to double check just in case her former friend was somehow tricking me. I quietly slipped through the house to my wife's phone and saw that the conversations with her former friend had been deleted from her phone. This confirmed in my mind that she was absolutely hiding something. So, I conducted DNA tests on both of my children, or perhaps I should say, on both of the children, as the test came back confirming the kids were not mine. I was devastated. I had been raising Anna Thurman's children for the past 7 years thinking they were mine. Worse than that, my wife had lied to my face every day for the last 7 years. I'd had it. I confronted my wife and she denied it once more, claiming her former friend was a liar, and just trying to destroy their home. Her tune immediately changed when I showed her the test results. She broke down crying, begging me to stay, and saying we could make it work. I was angry, livid even, but the anger somehow came full circle and I felt remarkably calm. I tell her that I won't leave, I won't tell anyone about the kids or her infidelity, but on one condition: she must sign a postnuptial agreement. I told her if she signed it, then yes, we could work it out. Basically, the agreement, which she did agree to sign, said that in the event of a divorce, I would get everything, premarital and marital properties. If a divorce happens, everything I've ever earned is mine. She'd be left with nothing of my earnings and would not receive alimony. She signed it in the lawyer and I began quietly preparing for divorce while pretending to be reconciling to buy me time for my exit. And then waited 2 months before serving her the divorce papers. I sued for full custody of the kids as well, because despite the genetics, they're well and truly my children and I'd be damned if I let this dirty woman raise them. It worked because the judge ruled her an unfit parent and the divorce was finalized. I won majority custody of the children, although she is allowed the weekends, thus ruling out my need to pay child support. On the day the divorce was finalized, I made a post on my Facebook and revealed that my ex-wife cheated and betrayed me in the worst way possible, which is the reason for the divorce. Though I didn't reveal that my children aren't biologically mine, my ex was in hysterics after that and kept pleading with me to take it down. But I didn't. It's such a minuscule pain compared to what I've had to endure because of her. So she needs to deal with that. I guess considering everything, I'm not in a bad place. My children do wonder why mommy isn't living with us anymore. But she was never as involved with them as I was. So, they're fine without her for the most part. I'll tell them the truth with time, and it's going to be a slow journey of healing from here on. Thank you, everybody, for reading.